Bill Burton is the Deputy White House Press Secretary. He joins me live. Bill, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Megan. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's just start with that. Forget whether you call it an enemies list or what you call it. Is the White House keeping a list? Does it have a list of emails from folks who have made complaints or have raised what the president deems to be myths about health care reform?
No, absolutely not. And that's actually one of the myths about the health care reform effort that's out there that we're trying very hard to knock down, because people should know that if they have questions or concerns, or they hear of questions or concerns that are out there, they can feel free to forward them to us, and we will answer them. But we're not keeping any list. We don't care if the person's name or email address is on it. We just want to be able to answer with the facts what's out there. But this notion of an enemies list, I mean, it's pretty silly.
Okay, so when somebody does forward in one of their neighbors' complaints or a so-called myth, and they include the email address, so the White House is purging or deleting all those emails?
We're answering the emails with the information that is important, but no, we're not keeping any list of those
No,
emails.
but I mean, when you know, if Bill Hemmer complains about health care and he has a myth, and I forward you Bill Hemmer's email to me saying, you know, Bill's saying there are death panels, so I forward it to you, and you get Megyn Kelly's email and you get Bill Hemmer's email, you're deleting Bill Hemmer's email address, right?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you brought up the death panels, because that is one of the myths that's been propagated out there by leaders of the anti-reform movement.
No, but if you could just answer my question, because we already did a whole panel on the death panel issues.
Oh, no, I saw it, and you used the term passive euthanasia, and I would like to talk about that. But I don't want you to conflate the notion that we get emails and we answer with the facts with this notion that we're keeping some list of all the emails.
But my question is, do you purge and delete the name of the complainant?
I understand your question, but do not confuse your viewers into thinking that we are keeping a list of the opponents of reform. We're not. We're just trying to go out there and answer
Bill. Please just answer my question.
I know,
is there a reason you don't answer it? Are you purging and deleting those emails, or aren't you?
It's not clear to you, because
it's not because you're not answering.
Because you keep coming at Megan, you're flabbergasting. I got to say, we're not keeping an enemies list. We're answering people's questions, and the fact that you guys keep talking about this so much is confusing people, I think, because we're not keeping any list. We just want to make sure that people have the
You're
facts
not keeping the enemies
about
list.
What's going on.
I hear you. You've made that point 3 times. Now, if you would just please answer my question: are you purging
or
deleting
the actual?
Are you purging or deleting the emails of the citizens who have raised complaints?
Right. I appreciate that question. We're not altering their emails in any way. We're just answering the person who emails us with the facts.
Okay. So you're not purging them. You're not deleting them from the White House records.
Why would we delete them from the White House records? We're answering the emails.
No. I'm saying,
Megan, I really want you to stop confusing your viewers, because
this is
you're
an
not
important
doing a
question,
service
sir. Listen,
to the American people
Bill,
by
you're being
confusing them about whether or not
because
there's an
you and I
list.
both know.
I'm not being unfair.
Listen, you and I both know. Let me make my point, and then I'll let you respond.
We're trying to answer them factually.
Let me make my point, and I'll let you respond. You and I both know that there is a federal law, and it is called the Presidential Records Act, and it prohibits you from deleting the emails in the records that are received by the White House. So in the example I just gave you, you are not deleting Bill Hemmer's email, because you will have it and you will maintain it for years. And then at some point it will become publicly available. And this is why some people say you requesting that people forward their neighbors or other people's complaints, which will include emails in many instances, will have a chilling effect on free speech. Go.
And I think the reason why people are confused is because journalists, not unlike you, are saying things like, are knowing that the Presidential Records Act suggests that we keep records here, but none of that information is made public for a very long time, and we're not keeping a list because that is ludicrous. We're just answering the questions that people have about legitimate concerns that they have, and answering some of the real myths that are out there that get propagated by leaders of the anti-reform movement and are sometimes often talked about on cable news networks.
Understood, Bill. But the problem is that in an environment where you have the Speaker of the House referring to these people as swastika wearing, where you have another Democrat calling them Nazis, where you have the president calling complaints about health care smears and saying he's going to fight them, and then the White House comes out and says, send us the emails. Those who are behind the emails may feel a little reluctant to engage in such speech in the future. And that is the complaint not just cable news has about it, Bill Burton, but the ACLU has even come out and said, we've got a serious problem with that.
Well, Megan, for starters, I don't think that Speaker Pelosi was just claiming that people were wearing swastikas. People are showing up to events with swastikas, dressed up as Hitler, with signs invoking Nazi Germany. So that's not something that's being made up. I mean, there are real questions and concerns out there about reform, but what we're trying to do is have a constructive debate and be productive about how we get health care reform that people so desperately need. But when we get tangled up in questions that go after how we're trying to answer people's questions and concerns and shoot down myths that are out there, I think that's a distraction from what the real issue here is, which is that the American people desperately need health care reform because costs are getting too high, too many people don't have insurance, and the president thinks that people should have more choices as it relates to their insurance.
Understood. There's another concern, and it's about free speech. And I hope at some point, Bill, you and I can get to that one. For now, we're out of time.
Megan,
thanks for being here with us.
We are fully behind free speech. I want to make sure that your viewers know that. We're for free speech.
Thanks, Bill.